Hey folks, I'm JC from One Shot Adventures, and today I'm going to review the Dungeon Crawl Classics zero-level funnel adventure, The Accursed Heart of the World Ender. I love how melodramatic Dungeon Crawl Classics adventure names are, by the way. Goodman Games just really captures the savage gonzo feel that they're going for just with the titles alone.
The Accursed Heart of the World Ender.
Now, for those of you unfamiliar, a funnel adventure is one where every player controls 4 pathetic, lowly, terrified zero-level characters who are short on skills, abilities, and possessions, and one by one you'll see them perish in a dangerous, often crazy adventure until only a few survivors remain through luck or cunning, and those poor souls will then level up to level 1 and are ready to start their career as real adventurers. Funnel adventures definitely feel different from a typical tabletop adventure, and that's what makes them fun. In Accursed Heart of the World Ender, these lowly level 0 characters are pilgrims, men and women who might be related to an ancient high king. You see, the land is in strife, and the pilgrims are on a long, arduous journey to try pulling a legendary spear from the ground. And like King Arthur, it is said, whoever shall pull the spear from the ground will be king and unite the land to fend off the forces of darkness. Of course, like most Dungeon Crawl Classics funnel adventures, there are twists here, and these would-be heroes soon find themselves surrounded by danger and buckets of blood. So, is Accursed Heart of the World Ender an adventure worthy of your table? Maybe even to kick off a brand new campaign? Well, grab your pilgrim's robes and get ready for some serious spoilers, because not only am I going to give you a full review of this adventure, I'm going to show you GMs and judges some tips and tricks on how to run it like a pro. The Accursed Heart of the World Ender is written by Brendan J. LaSalle. It's 16 pages long and filled with punchy writing, cool old school art, and some really helpful maps. Now, this adventure was originally designed for conventions, which means that it easily fits into one session and it makes for a good introduction to new players. I recently ran it at a local game convention with experienced role players, but they were all new to Dungeon Crawl Classics, and we were easily able to finish the entire adventure in about 2.5 hours. The background of the adventure is this. Generations ago, the demon lord Gorflagriator threatened to destroy the world. Only through an alliance of giants was he finally defeated, felled by the 7-tree spear, a legendary magic weapon which pierced his heart. Centuries passed and his massive fallen body was lost to time. He was buried by the winds and the earth, which turned into a hill upon which a secret temple was built, with only the handle of the spear visible at its very center. And around the spear, a legend was formed that only somebody with the blood of the old kings can pull the spear from the ground, and whoever does that shall be declared king. So every year, a group of pilgrims who have certain marks on them are escorted to this secret holy site, and there they take turns to try to pull the spear out. So far, nobody's done that, and the land has no king. But, and this is a big but, Gorflagriator isn't actually dead. He's in stasis, with only the point of the spear that's piercing his heart keeping him that way. So, the players are the latest batch of pilgrims who are traveling all of this way to try pulling out the spear. Because this is a funnel, this means that your players control about 20 different characters, one of which is the potential new king. I love this opening premise of the adventure. It feels very different from a lot of other funnels, which are usually a call to arms for some lowly villagers who have to stand up and protect their village. This opening, that one of us shall surely be king, just gets your players excited right away. The adventure opens with these pilgrims entering the secret temple, and they're all surprised to see that the Templars which guard the temple are all strangely mutated. Some have long necks, others have leaves as hair, some even have cat faces. It's all really weird and strange. And that's because the gods curse anybody who can't pull out the spear, mutating them in very unusual ways. So all these Templars once tried to pull the spear out, and they failed and are now guarding the spear. So after spending a day conversing with some Templars, the PCs get to take turns pulling out the spear. This is handled by a luck roll, with the unluckiest player actually going to pull out the spear last. Everyone else is going to get a wacky mutation from a giant table of hundreds of mutations, which range from the terrible, like all your stats drop to 3, or growing a second head, to the mildly useful, like claws, or really weird things like transforming into a centaur. Now, this is really fun to see all these characters get mutated before the spear is finally pulled out, but I will warn you that all of this rolling on tables can slow the game down. Like rolling a result for every one of the 20 or 25 characters in the party, telling each player what the mutation is, having them then write it down. This just takes a while. And because you asked for a luck roll kind of ahead of time, the unluckiest player is going to know something's up and there's a reason why he's going last. So my suggestion for smoothing this out is at the very beginning of the game, ask each of your players to make luck rolls to identify which of their 4 characters is the unluckiest of their group. And that way, when it comes time to pull out the spear, you can kind of just roll behind your screen and figure out which of the players will be the one to actually pull out the spear. That way the players don't really know who's the unluckiest among them. And then, because surprises are better, I don't automatically make it the final character to try pulling out the spear to be the one that does it. I actually kind of have the spear pulled somewhere in the middle. Like, I let 10 or 12 characters get a mutation trying to pull the spear out, and that's just fine if then somebody does pull the spear out, because otherwise it just takes too long handing out those abilities, and the fun of the mutations kind of wears off when you've seen like dozens already happen. So just go ahead and put that spear pulling moment just somewhere in the middle of the group. When that pilgrim pulls the spear from the ground, there's a huge moment of celebration. A new king. But then, tragedy. The ground opens up, lava spews out, and the new king is instantly killed by the cataclysm. Hey guys, it's my turn. I am king! And then the evil, world-ending Gorflagriator emerges 100 feet tall, awakened once again now that the spear has been pulled from his heart. Gorflagriator laughs and then gruesomely reaches into his own chest to yank out his heart, and it grows wings and it flies away. And then he starts gleefully murdering pilgrims and Templars alike. The PCs can try fighting Gorflagriator, but it's hopeless. He's like crazy powerful. He can only be defeated by that spear, the 7-tree spear, piercing his heart, and his heart, well, it flew away. And in 24 hours, things are gonna get worse because Gorflagriator will shake off his slumber and become even more powerful. So to prevent this from being a TPK, there's a scroll that's like hidden in the temple altar, which can summon a good demigod, which will appear and fight Gorflagriator off for just a little bit of time so the PCs can grab the spear and escape. This scroll is a little bit hard to find in the adventure. I wish it was a little bit more obvious. So I recommend letting the PCs see the scroll like soon after Gorflagriator appears. Like maybe he emerges and picks up that altar and like splatters one of the PCs with it, and one of the adventurers sees like the scroll fluttering down. This is a really important item for the players to find just because it buys them time to make their escape. And fleeing is really important in a funnel. This is just a fantastic opening, and you'll probably see about a quarter of the pilgrims killed off before everyone else gets the idea and escapes. I would keep a Templar alive during this opening part just to really reinforce to the players the information about how they need to defeat Gorflagriator by piercing his heart with a spear, and that in 24 hours he will become more powerful so he can destroy the world. Otherwise, it's possible that your players will think that maybe this is a viable battle that they can win, and they'll stick around too long, and like that's not good. So make sure you impart that information about how Gorflagriator can be killed right here early on. So the PCs now need to chase after the heart before Gorflagriator regains his full strength. Fortunately, it's pretty easy to find since the heart kind of leaves this disgusting like blood spatter trail in its wake. The trail of the heart leads to a river where a herd of deer have drank from the blood-infected water and transformed into bloodthirsty pandemonium deer. And soon after that, the PCs will encounter these cowardly Templars who just kind of are done with this whole thing, and they actually want to steal the spear from the PCs and return it to Gorflagrator and maybe get a reward for him. So this is a lot of combats right in a row. So to mix things up, I actually make crossing the river an event. I tell the PCs that there's a broken, flooded bridge here and that they need to find a safe way across. And of course the water is filled with that blood. So they have to find a smart way to ford the water, and inevitably somebody will fall into the water and either drowns, or if they can get back to shore, I have them mutate from the bloody water again, which is fun and gives you another excuse to use that mutation table again. I just like to insert a little problem-solving scene, give the players a little breather, because 3 fights in a row can get a little bit old, even in a funnel adventure. Eventually, after hours of traveling, the PCs will reach a cave which is located high atop a rocky hill, where the heart has hidden itself. Now, by this time, Gorflagrator has figured out that these pilgrims are up to no good and are chasing after his heart, so he's now hot on their heels. He comes bursting out of the forest near the cave just as the PCs are going into the darkness, and he dramatically reaches into the cave to try to grab them, and when he realizes they're out of reach, he actually gnaws off his own hand, animates it, and it just chases them into the cave. It's really grisly and cool. Gorflagrator is hardcore. He's such a cool villain. Inside this cave, the PCs find a nobleman, Lord Featherstone, who was chasing the heart in hopes of saving the world and becoming king himself. And when he sees the PCs and that they have the Seven Tree Spear, he tries to bargain with them. I like that there's a good NPC here, since the adventure up until this point is really lacking any NPCs the players can really interact with. Lord Featherstone is flexible enough that the GM can kind of play with him any way they want. They could either use him as a sneaky antagonist or even as an ally to help them win the day in case they're short on characters at this point. I personally like to use him as kind of a friendly but arrogant opportunist, where he's shrewd and he offers to authentically help the PCs defeat the heart. He knows that that's important to saving the entire land, but he will betray them at the right moment to claim the spear and all the glory for himself. There's something just really fun about getting your players to trust this guy and then later on getting backstabbed and murdered by a fellow named Lord Featherstone. The cave is pretty small, it's only a couple of rooms, and at its rear is the heart itself. And here the players have to fight off the heart. It's got some cool abilities. It can spew blood that can dissolve, all the PCs. And they now have to attack it with the spear while also fending off Gorflagrator's severed hand that's probably coming after them, and possibly even Lord Featherstone and his henchmen. When I ran this, we had such a great ending. One of the characters who had successfully carried the spear for the entire adventure, a noble character no less, was about to perform the killing blow on the heart. The noble bravely cornered the heart moments away from making that final attack, an attack that would surely kill the thing, and the players all knew it, and they swore loyalty for this character, for he should be king after he kills this heart, and the players all cheered him on, ready for him to make that attack roll. But then the one character who had the initiative before that noble took a chance and threw a knife at the heart and fumbled with a roll of 1 and hit this noble character in the back, killing him instantly. "Stand back, friends, I shall kill this heart, and I will be your king. I will be just, I will be kind, I will be white." So with some luck and surely some casualties, the PCs can kill Gorflagrator's heart and save the world. And when I ran this adventure, we had about a 70% death rate in this adventure, which feels right for a funnel. And that's the Accursed Heart of the World Ender. It's a really tight, short adventure. So what do I think? I think this is a solid funnel. It feels like an action movie with the PCs barely able to catch their breath as they kind of go from one encounter to another, each one getting more and more dangerous. The opening, pulling the spear from the ground, is terrific. And there's enough variability in that final battle with enough foes and allies in play that it's going to play out differently depending on the actions that your players take. My one criticism with the adventure is that all of the danger, especially in the middle section of the adventure, is through battles. Fun battles, but it feels a little similar after a while. Because you have that initial encounter with Gorflagrator after pulling out the spear, then the Pandemonium Deer at the river, and then the Rogue Templars, and then the Heart. There just aren't death traps or weird magic or environmental hazards that are usually common in a lot of Dungeon Crawl Classics funnel adventures. And that's why I added that little scene in the middle on the collapsed bridge, just to add a little variety. And I suppose you could also add something like a death trap in the cave, like maybe Lord Featherstone happily lets the PCs go in the back of the cave to fight the Heart, but he's secretly set up like a nasty tripwire trap on the ceiling so the guy who hits it with the spear dies horribly and Lord Featherstone can dash out and grab the spear himself. Yeah, I can't believe Lord Featherstone's just gonna let us kill the Heart and take all the glory. Maybe next time. But ultimately, if you're looking for an action-packed, fast-moving adventure that has a really fun opening premise, just go ahead and challenge your players to pull that spear out of the ground and give Accursed Heart of the World Ender a try. Oh, and by the way, if you'd like to use some of the assets that I created for this adventure, I made a physical handout of that scroll of summoning that the players can find in the temple, and a VTT map of the cave, check the link in the description below where you can download all those. Oh, and if you like this review and want to see more like it, go ahead and stab that like and subscribe button like you would Gorflagrator's Heart. Now, because this was a convention adventure, I'm willing to bet some of you watching this have played this adventure before. How'd it go for you? I'd love to hear your war stories, so let me know in the comments below what you thought. Until next time, I'm JC, and just remember, if you find yourself waiting in line to pull a magic spear from the ground, lift with your legs, not your back.